And welcome back to another episode of the legal... No, wait, wrong show. And
My
he's stuck.
Hurt.
He's
My
stuck.
eyes hurt.
Welcome back to the Gun Collective Podcast. My name is Adam Kraut.
And I'm John Patton.
And this week's show is brought to you by Blue Alpha Gear and the TGC...
Patriots.
That's what they're being called this week, huh?
Yeah.
The TGC Patriots.
At patreon.com/The Gun Collective.
Oh, whoa. Oh, you're plugging stuff already.
Whoa!
Oh, okay.
Whoa! Adam, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, I
You're
guess.
good?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, baby. P-Pants is here. We've got the yellow rifle that everybody always asks about.
It hasn't changed. Here's a pro tip. It hasn't changed. Still
Well,
the
not
same
everybody
one.
watches every week.
Well, you... Get out. Just...
Hey, in case you guys have forgotten, Adam does actually like white chocolate. It's all a facade to get him on the NRA board.
Also love 30
Are we gonna
6.
can we talk about that this week? Can we talk about the...
I guess. I mean,
right.
it's out there.
Okay, so we're going to talk about...
Candygram for Mongo.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, you don't know Blazing Saddles? Get out.
Sorry, buddy.
No, I'm doing this solo. Leave immediately.
You want me to just pull the plug on the whole thing?
Yes, let's quit.
He's so mad. I don't know Blazing Saddles.
If you're in the comments section, please feel free to let John know how you feel about that. Also, please feel free to send Amazon gift card so he can download it.
No, they don't need to do that. I mean, I won't stop them, but they don't need to.
Okay, well, anyway, it's a great movie reference that you probably don't know. You should know, and white chocolate is disgusting. You are correct. Anyway, so go on. You were saying.
So, Adam, you are running for board of directors again. We'll get to that in a minute. What else is going on this week? We
shot some stuff.
We went out to the range.
I almost said a bad word.
Oh yeah, that's okay. I wouldn't have been mad.
Yeah, but we shot some stuff.
So we went to the range. What else transpired over the last week? Anything actually interesting, or is that the only interesting thing that happened?
I don't know. I barely remember what happened this morning. No, I take that back. I do know what happened this morning, but
okay.
I'm trying to think if anything happened interesting this week. No, I don't think it did.
Okay.
Is there something you had in mind that I'm just totally blanking on?
Nope.
Okay.
I know for a fact that there were some cool suppressors that came my way that I'm pretty excited about.
Oh, that's rad. What'd you get?
We got the Bowers Verse 30T, which we tried out yesterday, and that was one that is pretty new to their lineup. It's not even on their website yet, and we tried it on the 224 Valkyrie.
Oh yes, that gun.
Before it broke, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. That, and sorry, let me stick to the suppressors. I've got 2 of the biddies. I've got a couple of the US 22s.
Now, when you say biddy,
the biddy
is that in the colloquial sense, or is that
no? That's the name of the suppressor.
Oh, okay.
The Bowers biddy is a little 22 can that fits inside a 22 ammo box, which is freaking cool. We'll do a video on it.
I'll have to bring over my 21A.
Yeah, we definitely got to do
and
that.
we'll compare it to a pill bottle and some other stuff. When we get
all
cool
the tiny
cans.
ones.
Yeah.
We'll have to see if we can do like a roundup of all the tiny cans. I think that'd be cool.
That would be pretty neat. Or the modular ones too, ones that can be very tiny.
Anything that can be tiny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Cool.
So we got a whole bunch of cans in. I've got some other stuff that came in. Let's see. There was also something that we had at the range yesterday.
Uh-oh. Did it not work?
No, this thing that I'm talking about worked like a champ.
It wasn't the 224 Valkyrie.
No, that did not work correctly. We had the new integrally suppressed Bowers. It was a Browning.
Ooh. Yeah.
Browning Buckmark carbine that I sent to KG Made.
So interestingly, that was the first when you brought that gun back, because you bought that while you were on a trip somewhere.
I was down in
Georgia, right?
Yeah, with Eric and Chad.
And you came back and you were like, "Hey, check out what I got." I didn't even know that was a thing.
What, the carbine?
Yeah, I had no idea that was actually a gun. I remember looking and going, "Whoa, that's really neat. That's cool." And then you were like, "Guess what I'm going to do with it?" And then you did it. And it's still really cool and neat. Like, it's even cooler and neater now.
Yeah, and I actually named the name for the product is Serenity. That was a name I came up with. The serial number is Eradicator 311.
Oh, I see. There's a play on something you like there.
It's my birthday. March 11th.
Yeah, that's true. You also really like 311.
Yeah,
so.
I do like that band.
And you like eradicating stuff.
Well, it was the original plan with that gun was it was going to be a semi-auto squirrel gun for my dad, and since that's not possible, I went ahead and did it anyway, and it's freaking cool.
It was cool.
Yeah. So that's a cool one.
That was neat. That was fun
what
to
else?
shoot.
I'm getting ink all over my hands from this little thing.
Again, that's why you shouldn't play with
this is
things.
Exactly what happened last time. These little
the paw print things.
I need something in my hand. So anyway,
you need something in your hand. So just take something over there. The tape measure. I don't know. Anyway,
I'm
continue.
not gonna do that. So we shot that at the range. Who was out at the range with us? Somebody that you met for the first time yesterday.
Oh God, you're gonna ask me.
Do you know his name?
I forget.
Talan Sai.
Talan Sai. That's who it is.
Yeah.
Sorry, Talan.
He was at the range with us yesterday, and we had a lot of fun. Filmed what turned out to be a Sunday Gun Day, which is like kind of his weekly gun thing, which is great.
He was a nice guy. He was really cool to hang out with.
And he's not far from us.
Totally forgot his name. I blanked on it.
He told me Talan is his real name too.
Interestingly, when I was in college, the grad student who lived next to me, her son's name was Talan.
That's interesting. I wonder if it's the same person.
I doubt it because
I doubt it
this
as
was
well.
a couple of years ago, and this he looked a little old to be like 5 back then.
So that's pretty cool. He came out and we shot. Let's see, the 500 Auto Max. Got video coming on that. The 224
Bighorn
Valkyrie.
Armory.
Shot your fix.
We did.
Shot that a fair amount.
Shot 40 rounds through it yesterday.
Yeah. How's your wallet feel?
Lighter.
Yeah. 6.5 Creedmoor.
Like a little lighter, but
it adds up so fast.
I bought a case of it.
And did you?
Yeah, so I only pulled 2 boxes to get it sighted in and like tinker around. We shot my AK.
Shot your suppressed AK, the
so
MOD
actually
Outfitters.
Finally got it sighted in. Every time I've gone to the range so far with that thing, I've had a problem. Like the first time, the front sight wouldn't move at all. So we torched it here and broke it free. And then left the sight tool on the driveway when we went to go shoot
that's
it.
Right.
Then the next time, I brought the sight tool with me after it was free and was shooting it, and I got it kind of sighted in, stopped for a couple minutes to start shooting it again. And I was watching the groups open up. What the heck's going on here? Turns out that the mount on the Wolverine on the silencer was coming loose, and I didn't have the wrench with me to crank that thing down. So I took it home and put it in a vise and cranked it down. And then this time, finally... So you guys were shooting steel like man-sized targets at 200 yards, no problem with it.
Yeah,
and put the KNS adjustable piston in on it too, which
it was running pretty good. Once you kind of got it dialed in. I think there's still a little bit of tuning
I got
to do.
finagle with it a little bit more, but that it certainly made it. There was way less blowback after we got that kind of dialed in there, so that was cool.
So we got some questions I want to address here
in
the comments here.
Okay.
Somebody said, what is Facebook Jailbreak? Because that's the title of this episode. I was actually in Facebook jail for 24 hours because...
What is Facebook jail? Why don't we start there?
Facebook jail is when you get banned from posting.
Oh.
Like I could see everything on Facebook. I just could not respond to anything. I couldn't post on the page. I couldn't post in my personal stuff. I couldn't use the messenger. I couldn't do anything on Facebook.
I have a really good meme of Mark Zuckerberg for you later.
It literally kicked me out of every app on my phone that was logged into Facebook in some way.
Even Pages?
Dude, all of it.
Really?
I had to re-sign in. Yeah, it kicked me out of all of them. Yeah, well, it was really interesting. But anyway, I got in Facebook jail for saying I'm giving away a Chiappa Rhino, which is our Patreon giveaway this month.
Yeah, you probably can't do that on Facebook.
I did. So they kicked me off. But anyway, so that there's also a lot of people that want us to talk about the NRA being broke. Have you heard this?
It is?
It
is?
No.
Was that not an inflective enough of a question? It is?
My phone is just exploding right now. I don't know why.
Do you want me to throw it across the room for you?
I might have to. I'm going to put it down.
I got it. So the NRA being broke, huh?
So the story was originally broke by Rolling Stone. I was
going to ask, was it Bloomberg News?
I have a video coming on this, but I know the podcast doesn't necessarily get seen by our entire audience, so I'm free to talk about it here.
Sure.
The long and short of it is NRA is suing Cuomo, Maria Vullo, and a couple, I forget what. Cuomo's being sued in his official and whatever capacity.
personal?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly. It's worded in the suit.
Okay.
Or in the complaint. And I think basically the NRA is saying that Cuomo is running a campaign against them so that nobody does business with them, including insurers and banks. And they're saying that that is detrimental to the function of the NRA, including the fact that they will no longer be able to have any physical premises. They won't be able to do anything on or off site with the insurance issues. There's also issues with media liability, which apparently will affect their advertorial magazines as well as NRA TV. They're talking about if this stuff continues, they will basically have to pull that off. They'll have to stop publishing that. But I think it's funny because that's a pretty clear thing, but they're taking that as the NRA is broke because they're having to sue. I think it's more like inflammatory language, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of times also damages are overestimated and stated in lawsuits.
Really?
The NRA is not going broke. The NRA probably could use some money given what it spent on the prior election year, or 2016 election. They spent a lot of money. But as far as them going, if people think the NRA is going to shut its doors and put up a for sale sign on everything that it owns and disappear tomorrow because of this, you're wrong.
They're absolutely not. They raise millions and millions of dollars every year on top of what they already got in the bank as far as it.
Well, they probably spent a lot of what was. And again, you got to remember NRA, the way money is divided and whatnot is very different. ILA,
right.
Political
it did not
fund.
specify. It's
sure.
I believe. There's the political victory fund is what is in concern here. I don't even know if it is separating the ILA, the standard NRA. Like, I don't know how all that goes.
I haven't read the lawsuit because, quite frankly, I
don't care.
Well, it's not that I don't care. It's not at the top of my list to read things of that it's not going anywhere. I am curious to see whether or not they get anywhere with the allegations, though, that I can't remember if it was tortious interference or not, but essentially that the way Cuomo and those individuals are doing, they're essentially using their influence as leader, political leaders, a governor and whatnot, to direct or push companies to not do business with certain private entities.
That's absolutely
which
that's
is
part
wrong.
of the suit.
Which is wrong, regardless of whether we're talking about it in this specific context or take whatever context you want.
Well, some people could say that same thing about Trump as well, with his tweets that have definitely affected people's businesses and stuff. And I think that whole concept is really interesting. I think there was another part of the suit that said that. The Cuomo campaign, whatever we're calling that effort is affecting the First Amendment rights of not only the NRA but also their constituents, because we're in a culture now, partly because of that campaign, where you can't talk about the Second Amendment in a lot of places anymore.
Well, I saw the other day a kid was kicked out of class for wearing an NRA T-shirt. Private school, not so much of a problem as much as angry as that may make some people. Private schools can regulate how people dress, but a public school, it absolutely is a problem, especially because an NRA T-shirt, and a simple NRA T-shirt isn't depicting violence. It's not, there are certain things that are able to be prevented from entering classrooms, but that, that's just the teacher showing their clear bias towards...
which is a problem in and of itself. But
well, I mean, it goes back to, I guess, if you look at just the way that the public's general perception, part of the public anyway, their perception of the NRA, it's a terrorist organization. Really?
Well,
I mean, terrorist organization? Okay.
I think the shocking influence in the media over people's actual hard line of thinking is terrifying. Like, people buy into that crap so just hook, line, and sinker.
Well, because people don't want to think for themselves. And it's true.
I don't know
side.
anybody like that. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't speak to those types of people on a regular basis. So it's like, man, how can you be so naive?
It happens. The flip side of, pick any topic. I'm sure you can find people equally undereducated on whatever it is.
And speaking of the NRA,
oh boy,
we have to talk about the fact that you put up a poll the other day. You're not an idiot. I don't think you're an idiot at all.
That's not what your words to me upstairs were.
What did I say upstairs?
No, I think I said I'm an idiot.
And I agreed with you.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily specify the context. No. So Adam put up a poll the other day asking if he should run again.
For what time is this?
What?
What number? What?
This is the third time.
Oh, good Lord. What have I done?
Third time trying to get onto the NRA board.
People are saying, oh, third time's a charm. Like, you do it once, let alone twice. 3 times?
I think it's so interesting, too, that our community has kind of everybody's banded together behind you. I think this year more than ever before, you have way, way more strong voices behind you. But anyway, so let's talk about how this transpired.
Okay.
What made you put the poll up?
Oh, man. I don't even...
You basically said, should I run for the NRA board again?
Yeah,
correct?
I'm trying to think what started that. There was some precipitating event that is not coming to mind right now that led to me putting up a poll on Facebook, on ARFCom, and on Instagram. And the Facebook poll... Well, the Instagram poll disappeared, and I forgot to save the results, but that was like 800
was
plus...
it a landslide?
800 plus people said yes, and like 40 said no. The ARFCom one was like 300-ish something saying yes and like 4 saying no, and Facebook was like 1,500 saying yes and 45 saying are you crazy? Oh, you know what it was? There in the comments. Perfect. Yeah, it was that Gundamentalist article that came out.
Oh, right.
We can talk about that in a second.
Sure.
But yeah, that article came out, and I looked at it, and I'm like, well, crap. I almost felt obligated. And it's an interesting position. It's not that I don't want to do it. I originally had made up my mind that I wasn't going to do it.
Right.
It is draining. It takes up a lot of time. It eats up my personal life.
I think it goes far beyond that. I think it eats up your sanity.
Stressful. Yeah, no, absolutely. And the worst part about it has always been that I'm catching flack from everybody.
Yeah.
You know, people that are apparently pro-gun give me crap. People within the organization don't like me. Yet, like, none of these people ever reach out to talk to me to discuss my ideas, which is one of the things that really irks me the most, is that there are certain people that sit on the board and people that support those individuals that say I want to do X, Y, or Z, or try to cast me as
it goes way above
like
the board,
nefarious purpose. And not one of you has ever picked up the phone and be like, hey, Adam, we saw you said this. What do you mean by that? Or can you expand on this idea a little bit more? Like, I'm not hard to reach because all of you have been able to talk to me. You guys send me an email, I respond. You send me a message, I respond. And I'm usually pretty quick about it too. I talk to people at events I go to all the time. I've called people. You know, it's not like I'm impossible to get a hold of. So that kind of stuff really drives me up the wall. But that's part of it. And then I actually only got one piece of hate mail after that article came out. I was surprised. I thought I was going to get a lot more. But it was less than an hour after I saw that I saw that it was published, and I got an email. And I've had emails. Yeah, I've had emails before.
So you've decided with that to run again.
Yes.
And
because the people want it.
The official announcement?
Sure.
Have you announced it anywhere yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I put it up on Facebook and Instagram.
Well, you're going to run again. I think this year we have a lot more knowledge about
it's been a learning
how
experience.
To win.
Yeah, every year has been a learning experience. And
I think the interesting thing is, even when you haven't, in the past 2 years, you haven't ended up on the board, but we have made big strides forward, shaking the organization to its core. I know for a fact that we have pissed off people all the way to the top of the NRA.
Oh, I know.
That's amazing.
I know, because Wayne LaPierre came into Rockwell Tactical's booth last year at Great American Outdoor Show, was shaking hands, shook mine, looked up at me, and quickly left.
I mean, that says a lot about what we're doing, and I think it's incredible, and I don't know that there's anybody else that we could put in the position you're in that would be able to handle it with the tact that you've handled it so far. Well, and I'm excited to see what we can do this year. There's people out here in the live chat saying, "Oh, start an organization," or this, that, and the other. There's a lot of intricacies that Adam and I have already discussed about. How do we fund this sort of thing? How do we handle?
I wouldn't bother. I would if.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a discussion. We haven't made any real firm decisions, or Adam hasn't, I should say, because there's so much more that goes into, starting a gun rights organization.
talk to somebody who runs one.
Well, we talked to Brandon.
I talk to Brandon all the time.
Yeah.
You think I'm overworked?
So Brandon Combs was actually episode 1 of our TGC podcast, and he runs Firearms Policy Coalition. And what's the other side of that?
Firearms Policy Foundation.
So he runs both of those.
And codisfreespeech.com.
Yeah, and now codisfreespeech.com because it is free speech.
Yeah, so I will not be starting any kind of organization because
the fact remains you're going to run well, why don't you how about this?
Sure.
If you're out here watching live and you're unfamiliar with the stance that Adam has taken, maybe you're a newer viewer, why don't you sound off and say, hey, I'm a new guy or I'm a newer subscriber in the comments, and if there's a whole bunch of them, we'll go ahead and talk about what Adam kind of represents within the community.
So
we've got the annual meeting happening in Indy this year. It's a different year.
It's closer.
Are there any issues that you see as the forefront issues that are of concern for this particular calendar year?
Well, I think the 3D printing is certainly one that a lot of people are upset about. I think there's a lot of First Amendment. I mean, there's obviously Second Amendment issues, but I think there's a lot more First Amendment implications in it. NRA has so far stated that they aren't supporting anything new on that they support the continuation of the Undetectable Firearms Act of '88, which was extended. Oh, man, it was extended 3 times now, and the latest was in 2013. And I can't remember if it was for 5 or 10 years. So we won't be seeing that come back up for any time soon.
Sure. What about bump stocks? I mean, that was a big issue this year.
Well, we're going to find out where that goes. I mean,
the thing is, I think, I think you need to take a hard stance on that in one direction or another. I know you have on your own channels, but I think on a large scale you need to do it. And it looks like there are a whole bunch of people that want to hear the kind of overarching stance. And I know you haven't prepared any kind of speech or anything, but I've seen
speech.
I've seen a bunch of people saying that they would like to hear what you stand for and kind of the core of what your message is.
Yeah, I mean, some change is part of the message. I mean, obviously, I'm a younger guy. I represent a lot of gun owners that probably are more into the NFA stuff and AR-15s and whatnot than the dudes going duck hunting for sure. It depends because there's been a lot of different things, and let me just preface this with I don't plan on, and I never have. And to think otherwise would be extremely naive to just be able to walk in there and here's my agenda, let's go, because I'd be one of 76 people. So I don't know why there's this fear of me because that's just not possible.
I think you represent something much larger than yourself.
Well, and I should. I would hope that others follow suit, but I guess, I've said in the past, I think education is extremely important. I found in my experience throughout life that people who hold anti-gun views do it from a position of low information or no information. That was in my own home. My father grew up, never owned guns. I grew up in a house without guns. I was told to get rid of. I bought a shotgun when I turned 18. I was told to get rid of it. I still have it. I turned 21. I bought a handgun, got a carry permit. I was told I'd be dead.
But me!
Yeah, Cartman there. And then my dad asked me to take him shooting one day out of the blue, and I took him, and his opinion has changed. It was that introduction to firearms without having that experience that changed his perception as to what they are. And there's some things, there's still parts we disagree on, and it's just he's slowly coming around to some things that I wish it would be a little quicker, but at the same time I see from where it was a couple years ago to where it is now,
progress.
And it's like
Absolute
worlds
progress.
different. Like machine guns, everyone's like, well, how do you feel about the NFA? That's my favorite question. What do you feel about the NFA?
Repeal the NFA.
If I hear that question one more time, I'm going to throw something across the room.
No,
I will. Nobody will see it, though.
Here, I'll give you something to throw across the room. Here, throw that little Kinder Egg.
Done.
That was a really girly throw.
Thank you. I didn't want to smash the microphone. So I would love to see the NFA repealed. and here's what I said before, and anybody who thinks otherwise, please feel free to prove me wrong. You find one politician that'll introduce the law to repeal it. Go ahead, I'll wait.
Well, not only that, but then you've got to find everybody to back that.
Yeah. So while I'm all for it, and hell, I'll even write the language to do it, the reality is I don't see that being a reasonable thing that anybody's going to put their name to.
Right, politicians
it is what it is. Yeah, politicians are, not there. They're not going to do it. Same with the judge.
And you're certainly not going to do it as one of 76
sure.
on the NRA board.
Right.
You're certainly not going to change Congress
No,
from
and
that
and
position.
you're not going to change the way the organization as a whole runs by being one person. What I'm hoping is that other people will look and go, well...
The comments are now filled with, how do you feel about the NFA? Just saying.
Yeah, that figures.
Yeah. You deserved that.
I had that coming, I guess. The reality is, like, being one of 76 people doesn't give you a whole lot of power, and that's by design. It's no different than Congress or any other body where there's, hell, getting 3 people to agree on where to eat dinner is a challenge. Getting 76,
So I mean, you're trying to get more the NRA as a whole to focus more on education. I know you've said getting guns back in schools as far as education goes.
Yeah.
Is a big step forward. What else? What other kind of things would you like to see the NRA change, do, etc.?
Well, I'd like to see them stop compromising, if you will. Compromise. The word compromise. Everybody says, no more compromise. Well, the problem is it hasn't been a compromise. A compromise is indicative of you get something in return, and when you're just offering up like a sacrificial lamb here and there.
What, like bump stocks?
Well, sure, like bump stocks. I said last year, and I still stand by my stance. The statement NRA gave after the Las Vegas tragedy would have been fine had they left out the regulation of bump stocks part.
Yeah.
There was no need to include that. They could have just said, we're going to let law enforcement do its thing. We're terribly sorry that this happened. And furthermore, like, that guy wasn't an NRA member. The dude was a criminal who murdered people. Why is the NRA offering apologies? And I get it from, like, a public perspective, but it wasn't their guy.
Right.
It wasn't our guy. So I think there's some things, especially on the public relations side, the inclusiveness factor. We've talked about this a number of times, but this whole divide between left, right, the evil left. Well, the problem with that is there's a lot of people that are Democrats that own guns.
So let me, in that same vein, let me pose a question to you that I think is very relevant.
Sure.
What about this movement within our community?
The Gundamentalist movement?
No. I mean the movement that is F the NRA.
It's stupid.
No, but hold on. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
There are some very large voices in our community.
There are.
That have come out and said F the NRA. And we've actually been called shills for the NRA. We've never gotten a dime from them. But
given how most of them don't like me, I'm curious to know how that one works.
my point is, how do you feel besides saying it's stupid?
Well, I'll explain why I think it's stupid.
Go ahead.
It's stupid. And the reason is because the NRA is the largest gorilla in the room. I had this conversation the other day with someone else. The NRA is not the only game in town. I won't go so far to say that it's the biggest game in town. I'll absolutely give it that, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the problem is that a game that big isn't just going to die off because a small minority of people are like, well, screw you. You're not taking the absolutist approach, so we're not going to be. The NRA has 6 million members. That's 6 million different views as to what they want the organization to be doing. That's a lot of different perspectives, and you're going to find a whole swath from everybody that's like me that says, the NFA shouldn't be a thing, to the dude that's like, well, I only really care about my duck rifle, and I don't care about your machine guns or your silencers or anything like that. And you got everybody in between those 2 points. The reality is that you look at the number of people that participate in the board elections. I think there was like about approximately 2.2 million ballots that went out last year. 136,000 people cast a ballot. That's
a really small percentage.
It's like 6%. About 130,000 of those were valid. They threw out 5,000 of them for being torn. There's a whole criteria list.
Sure.
if you're all that pissed off, just imagine what you could do if
you
you all participated. Well, we don't want to
getting
fund
people
it.
to vote on a national scale.
Yeah, we don't want to. Yeah, duck rifle. Sorry, duck shotgun. Whatever. It's been a day.
Did you say duck rifle?
Apparently, I did.
That's
because,
amazing.
Yeah, well, there you go.
30-06 duck rifle.
There you go. Somebody meme that. Adam and his 30-06 duck rifle, colorized 2018.
Please put him in a duck blind in duck camo with a Garand.
Yes, and if you're doing it, it better be a good Photoshop job.
Better be good.
Because I'm going to repost it. Hold on. So let me just finish this thought. So the reality is, if you are involved with the organization, to be a voting member, you have to be an annual member for the past 5 consecutive years or a life or better member. Dues are going up, but it used to be like 30. It currently is until it goes up.
Wait, they want more money?
Well,
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
They always do.
$35 a year. So for 5 years or becoming a life member, now you have a voice. If all of you use that voice to nominate people that think the same way or similarly by petition, put them on the ballot, and then vote for them, like it really isn't that big of a push to do it. You just got to find people that are willing to go through the I mean, I'm doing this my 3rd time. What the hell's wrong with me?
I don't know.
Other than a lot, but the one thing that's been very good to hear is that I know 2 other people are running by petition this year.
Who?
There's Luke Crawford from down in Georgia.
Oh, that's right. Luke is running.
Yeah, so Google him, because I would, even though I'm running, I'll tell you right now, I've said this before I was going to run. If I was going to run again, I support Luke in his endeavor, and I hope he gets on the ballot at the very least. The other person is, I think it's Anthony from Gun for Hire out in Jersey.
Oh, isn't that a podcast or a radio show or something?
It's also a shop, I think.
Oh.
Josh knows him. And
they also are friendly with
Tony Simon.
Yeah. From 2A for Everybody.
Yeah, so if you guys want to go do so, I'll look for it, but I would absolutely encourage you guys to sign petitions for them as well. Yeah. I'm not in this just for me. The idea is that I want more people to pick up the ball and run with it. So even if I never make it, like, cool, man, I'm good with people paying attention, talking about it, and trying to implement changes. That's ultimately what I want here, like,
sure.
Whether I get there or not. So,
well, I for one hope that we can, as a community, put you on the board.
Well, if nothing else, we're giving them heartburn.
Right.
That's cool.
Right.
Never thought that would
We've
happen.
got a super chat here, and guys, if you want a super chat, you can do that on YouTube, but you are not obligated to. If you do, we will absolutely read out your question, comment, whatever. We've got one here from Cody Schumann, and it said, did anyone else feel the NRA leadership cringe at that statement? Haha, glad to hear it. Not sure which statement he was talking about.
That came from the beginning, so
yeah,
that's
that
when
was
we were
pretty
talking
early.
about running again.
So what else has been going on? You've announced that you're running for the board.
I've got heartburn, apparently.
You've got heartburn. What else is happening this week? What do we need to talk about?
Well,
there's 3D guns afoot.
Yes.
Cody Wilson. You know what? I just want to comment and say that I think he is really, really amazing at handling the media.
Oh, yeah.
I absolutely love watching him dismantle their arguments from like a fundamental standpoint. He's like, he just tears them apart, and it's absolutely fantastic. Wait, what is that? Facebook blocks the sharing? Is that the censorship of codeisfreespeech.com?
Yeah, and so I was just looking to see things.
Hey, Gun Guy TV is here. Shout out to Joel Persinger. He's a great guy, gun tuber.
Word?
Yeah. He's really I
believe you.
Yeah.
I absolutely believe you.
We should have him on the show sometime.
Sure. And I guess since we just talked about the NRA stuff real quick, the Gun Guy TV, do me a favor, shoot me a message somewhere, and we'll talk about it. But since people are asking, you can go to adamkraut.com, download the petition packet, life member or an annual member the past 5 consecutive years. Yes, you have to print it out. Yes, you have to fill it out and sign it. It can be on regular size paper. It's no longer required to be on legal size paper. Hasn't been since 2 years ago. And yes, you have to buy a stamp and put it in the frickin' mail. I know it's stupid. It's antiquated, but that's the way it is, so don't get mad at me. Anyway, to go on. You know what? We're at halftime. Let's just quickly take our
Okay.
break
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
So
we
we
need to
got
do
time to
halftime.
pay the bills. Our first sponsor this week is Blue Alpha Gear. Blue Alpha Gear is the maker and purveyor of fine nylon belt products.
You're trying to regurgitate what I said earlier.
No. I would never do that. They have the hybrid, which allows, it's a Cobra buckle belt. One side is smaller, so it allows you to actually use it without having to take off the Cobra buckle, which kind of sucks and is annoying.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to just slide that on through your belt loops and get on your way out the door with your carry gun or whatever else you're supporting with your belt, like your pants.
They also have an EDC belt, which is kind of they have like a low profile one. Genevieve rocks that every single day. She loves that thing. And there's also the duty belt and a couple other products as well. And I absolutely love Blue Alpha Gear. And we have a super duper secret promo code for them.
Oh, is it?
And then, wait. This is not.
You can't write it down because the paper will self-destruct.
Don't write it down.
You got to commit it to memory. We're going to say it 3 times because I think that's the amount of times somebody has to hear something in order to commit it to at least short-term memory.
Right.
Or is it 3 things you can hold in short-term memory?
The code is TGC10. Don't write it down.
TGC10, don't write it down.
Don't write it down. Use it at bluealphagear.com.
TGC10.
We're also supported this week by the TGC Patreon people, the TGC Patreon Patriots. There has been a lot of people supporting what we do, and Adam just smashed his coffee mug into the microphone. I apologize for that.
It's the hippie mug.
It's the Arizona
That's
hippie
from
mug.
Arizona.
So this month, we've been doing gun giveaways to give back to the people that support us directly. This month, we are giving away a 4-inch Chiappa Rhino. Are you excited?
Yeah, because that
should
gun's
be.
sweet looking.
They actually, so I shot my 2-inch version of that gun, and I literally giggled because I shot a full-blown 357 mag, thinking that it's a snub nose and it might sting a little bit. There's nothing there. We're gonna do a high-speed video. I think Genevieve and I are gonna go out next week and film it.
Cool.
With a Smith & Wesson traditional snub nose versus that.
Oh, all right.
I think that's gonna be a really, really
That'll be
interesting
neat.
video to see, because we get a lot of questions. Is it worth the money? Now, I've heard stories of those things not being good. Anyway, I'm getting way off track. Patreon.com/theguncollective. If you want to support us, we would really appreciate you doing that. It helps us bring content to you all over the place, and you guys are incredible.
All right, so moving on to our topic of Facebook. I guess that's the title of this episode. We probably should have started with this. So Facebook has been a giant jerk. Mark Zuckerberg is the king of the censorship.
What happened?
Well, so after this whole 3D printing thing got spun up and the files started to not become available because Defense Distributed blocked certain IPs, and then they were being sued, so then they decided that they're not going to, I think, post them at all until these lawsuits are dealt with. The Firearms Policy Coalition started codisfreespeech.com, which posted all of the files.
Yep, as they should.
Every single one of them.
They're on the internet.
They are on the internet since 2013. And they went ahead and posted that all over Facebook, and within 24 hours, that link was being censored. You couldn't post it. It was notifying people that...
That's because it was... I think it... Go ahead. Sorry. I think it's something different.
Okay. Well, you can explain that, but it was notifying people when they were posting the link that it was spam and that it wouldn't allow them to repost it. It was blocking images with it in there. Mm-hmm. So then they flipped over to QR codes, and they had to use multiple different QR codes in there to bypass Facebook.
I don't think that was an active... it may have been slightly, but I don't think that was entirely an attack on guns, on 3D printed guns. I think code is free speech became the next cool thing to go ha 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 and just post it everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I think it became spam.
Interesting.
I think it was legitimately spam, and Facebook went, this is garbage. We don't want this everywhere.
Interesting. Anyway, well, there's an article up on BuzzFeed News about it. But here you go. So Facebook's taking its own stand. Sharing instructions on how to print firearms using 3D printers is not allowed under our community standards.
Okay.
In line with our policies,
So I
we're
was wrong.
removing this content from Facebook.
That's interesting, considering there are people dying in videos on Facebook all the time. Literally, death videos.
Yeah. Interesting.
But that doesn't violate the community guidelines. Freedom does.
Well, yeah. So I guess that kind of debunks your theory here a little bit.
So just in case anybody is wondering, if codisfreespeech.com ever goes down, we'll throw them up on theguncollective.com as a backup.
Ooh.
I got to do that. I have all the files.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make that noise.
Okay.
Ooh. Anyway. So I thought that was worth us mentioning here.
If you guys out there in the comments have any questions, there was something that I want to address in the comments about Gun Drama Johnny. He's bailing from YouTube. He's a good friend of mine. Yeah, he's bailing.
I did not know that.
He said the way he explained it was he's stepping from in front of the camera to behind the camera.
Okay.
Obviously I talk to Johnny on an almost daily basis, and I know the full story, and I think it's a shame to see him kind of step back. But
when did that start? Because I was actually thinking about that earlier. I think
it was about a little over a year ago. Gun drama.
No, not when did he start, but when did the episode start slowing or stop? I guess because I was thinking about
really
it the
recently.
other. I was thinking about I think earlier this week or late last week that I haven't seen a gun. I haven't seen anything about
a gun gossip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's we wish him the best of luck. Of course.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, Johnny's an awesome guy. I hope if nothing else he stays in touch.
The other thing I want to mention is we talk about guests. Somebody was suggesting that we get Joel here on the show, and that's something that Adam and I have always struggled with. It's kind of more of
we
an
fight
internal
about.
Note. We don't necessarily fight
we
about.
Disagree.
We just so when we had people on the show, it was I felt like the show was good, right? I enjoyed the interviews. I thought the show was good, but the numbers did not reflect that. The numbers were like half of the viewership that we get when we just sit here and talk, Adam and I. So when we have people on, it's...
Maybe we need to talk about more divisive issues like white chocolate and 30-06 and M1s.
Well, I don't necessarily think it's that. It was a formatting issue or whatever, but I certainly want to get back to a point where we're mixing in some guests here and there. I'd like to have some people come down and be a part of it in studio.
That would be cool.
Because we're like, Talan's a local guy. I'd like to get Ben on here. I'd like to get Genevieve on here.
I think there's a dynamic that is a little bit lost when it's not in person.
Yeah.
Because we had talked about this, for me to come out here, it's a little bit of a hike. It's not the end of the world, but it's a little bit of a drive, and it'd be nice to be able to just walk upstairs to my room and be like, okay, doing my podcast. But the reality is, the interaction you and I have is slightly different in person than it is through that kind of stuff.
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
Did you see that Magpul's bipod is now out?
I did see that earlier today, actually. I did see that it is shipping.
I'm excited about that.
Are you getting
$100 bipod. I have not reached out to them to get one yet.
Are you getting two?
Would you like me to get you one?
I mean, I got a rifle that can.
I think Adam wants a Magpul bipod.
I want to play with it.
I'm excited about their chassis too. I think it's really interesting to watch them. What are you making a face for?
I saw a great meme about that I'll have to show you later.
Okay.
It came out around SHOT. It's hysterical.
That's very cryptic.
People are really
vague booking,
upset about the Magpul just because of the cost of it.
How much is it? $1,000?
Yeah, it's $1,000. But these
That's
these
pretty
are
expensive.
Well, these are the people that are like, well, that it costs more than my gun and my
more
optic.
Than my $300 rifle that I'm never going to put in a chassis.
My gun and my optic combined. And,
well, then you didn't spend enough on your optic.
Yeah, I mean, really, that's kind of what it is. There you go. I thought it was pretty funny.
Oh yeah, the basically it's the head of Magpul explaining that poor people don't understand money.
Well, so just explain.
Here, let me read it.
Yeah, well, explain what the picture is first, because it's important for context.
Those of you that are of the same age as Adam and I remember DuckTales
Woo-hoo!
And Scrooge McDuck diving into a giant vault of gold coins. So it's that, but in front is Dwayne Liptak
holding
of
the
Magpul, standing in front of it, holding it, and it says, Dwayne Liptak of Magpul explains to a group of poor people that nice things cost money. 2018 colorized 12 Instagram filters.
Oh, man.
I'm excited about that. It's really expensive, but could it be really good, too?
It was also 3 years of R&D. That costs money to recuperate. They don't just wake up one day. You know what? We're gonna build a chassis and sketch it out, and then 20 minutes later, it's out of a 3D printer. They create a mold, and now they're producing it.
Right.
Like Magpul has always the one thing I really like.
Hex Mag?
Yeah. Oh, damn. The one thing I really like about Magpul is that everything that they've brought to market has, regardless of whether you, the end user, for your specific purposes, like it, is that they've always put a lot of research and time into developing and then testing it before it was released. I have a pair of their sunglasses coming.
Do you?
Yeah. So I know. So I lost my sunglasses.
I'm not sure how I feel about those sunglasses.
Well, I lost my sunglasses while I was backpacking. They lost them somewhere on the trail. So I came home. And crap, I need sunglasses. And I wore those at the range. And the one thing I really didn't like was that they weren't rated for impact. And I was wearing them at the range, which was kind of stupid. And I had seen that Magpul had released sunglasses. And I had seen that they were also not incredibly, stupid looking. And kind of outdoorsy-ish, which is right up my alley. So
how does a pair of sunglasses look outdoorsy-ish? What does that mean?
Well, you'll see. Anyway. Listen, don't rain on my parade here, sir.
That's they're also the kind of crap that where people are like, that model looks so fierce. No, she looks like she has to poop.
That's fierce. That's exactly what fierce looks like. You know that? That's what fierce looks like. What does fierce look like? Well, when somebody has to... Never mind. And I saw they were rated for impact as well. I'm like, okay, well, I should get a pair of those. So
somebody in the comments just said, if you need a bipod, you can't shoot. That's a lie. That's not true.
Yeah, not true at all. Yeah, these are a different pair of sunglasses. These are not
those
on
are
my
Oakley's.
head. Yeah, and these I bought too because I needed sunglasses immediately. Anyway.
You okay?
Yes.
So you're getting a pair of the sunglasses.
Yeah, so I'm excited for those because I needed a pair of sunglasses for the range, and like I said, I like Magpul stuff, and we'll see how they look and whatnot, and they're not obnoxious in price. For
$100
for being yeah, but I mean Oakley's go up to $200.
Are they?
Yeah.
I don't understand why people pay that much for that sort of stuff. That's not like prescription. I just $200 for a pair of Oakley's. Why?
Well, didn't you see the O on the side? Don't you know how cool I am?
Yeah, no thanks. No thanks.
Yeah. So anyways,
let's see if we've got any questions coming up in the feed here. We had another super chat. You want to read that one out? From Chris Lyle.
I vote for Joel as an upcoming TGC podcast guest once he's feeling better, in parentheses. Gives great insights on the issues we deal with here in California.
Yeah, I'd really like to have Joel on for sure. That was kind of the comment that got that going in my head.
Your comment there. Here's this one's from Jason. During the panel discussion at NRAM, there was a number of questions about training of firearms. Have either of you been to an Appleseed shoot? Could we do a video on one? I've never been to one.
I've never been to one either. We should find out if there's one close by.
I believe there is. I could ask somebody at the shop because they would know.
Find out.
Those guys up there would definitely know.
Speaking of NRAM, that was I actually got a call from Tim today of Military Arms Channel.
Okay.
Talking about the TGC panel. There was somebody in the comments that said they can't wait for that event next year. So this will be year 4? Yes, year 4. Okay. So year 1 was in a hotel kind of basement almost.
Right.
That was cobbled together. I threw it together. Year 2, we were supported by the NRA. Year 3, the NRA decided that they don't like freedom and decided they didn't want to be associated with us. And that was this past year, and now year 4 is upon us. And year 3, because of what happened at the end of last year, I had a very short period of time to throw that together.
And it went well.
And it went really, really well. So now with even more time, I think we're going to have an even more successful event, and I'm excited about that.
Excellent.
I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to go down. I'm still looking for venues, trying to figure out where is the best one in Indianapolis.
All right.
Because, in my opinion, it should be as close to...
Yeah, to make it easy for people to just walk right on over. The line out there was crazy.
Yeah, we had a line. It was it was pretty warm, and we had a line...
Hot. And they were there
150 people
an hour and a half or so before.
I felt pretty bad about that. But that's stuff we can plan for this time. I kind of think maybe kind of going for a more interactive event, like having a main event, but also kind of hanging out a little bit more. I think would be really cool.
I think we can talk about this later.
Sure,
because
you've got an idea.
Well, yeah, I have some ideas, but my favorite part of the stuff is just chatting with people, and that's been true, like just going generally speaking.
Yeah, there are dates for NRA. People are asking when it's going to be. There are
they have dates for like the next 5 years.
Yeah,
I think.
NRAAM.org.
NRAM.
That's what we call it.
Yeah, with 2 A's. Yeah, so
that's in Indianapolis. It's gonna be fun.
It was fun. It always seems to be fun, and it's great being able to interact with people who watch us or watch others.
Sure. Let's take a couple questions. They're highlighted in black on our list here.
They are.
Yeah. You want to grab one of those?
Sure, but we're not going to talk about who won the rifle from last month.
I announced that on Patreon.
Not you. I guess would be.
I always announce that on Patreon because that's where the people are, and that gun is gone. So, what's the middle question there?
Ooh, what do you guys think of Oliver North?
What do you know about Oliver North?
Well, he was convicted of a felony for the Iran-Contra stuff, and then
I still don't know what all that is.
Was pardoned. I don't know. It's really interesting that he's such a divisive person. It seems to me like a lot of people either really love him or just really hate him.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you look in the comment section, some people are like, he's an American patriot hero, and other people are like, he's a scumbag criminal. I'm like, whoa, those are two like really different sides of the spectrum there. I've never met Ollie North, so I have no personal experience with the guy, and I'm loath to go off of the opinion of others. Generally speaking, I like to form my own opinions about people because oftentimes I found in the past when I've done it based on that of others, I tend to not necessarily agree at the end of it. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see whether or not he increases the members in the NRA. He said that's one of his stated goals is to make it a much bigger organization.
So it's only a year term, correct?
2, I believe.
2.
Off the top of my head, yeah.
I was really disappointed because I didn't realize we were about to lose Pete Brownell as that kind of figurehead.
Well, and again, I think
then they put somebody in there that is, in my opinion, does not represent a younger generation at all.
Well, and again, here's really the question is whether or not who are your dues paying members? Typically, it's not going to be...
They could be anybody you try to get in there.
I agree with you, but typically it's not going to be your college kid.
No.
It's not going to be your high schooler. It's not going to be your young adult necessarily.
I'm not saying go get Justin Bieber. I'm saying get somebody that's relevant.
I don't know. The Biebs might sell some stuff.
Oh, my goodness. My point...
Isn't there a cardboard cutout?
Yeah, he's over there wearing a Don't Tread on Me t-shirt.
See, we have the Biebs here.
The Biebs. He's in person. He's just hanging out.
Yeah, tied up into the basement. Got him.
I don't know. I really wish the organization as a whole would shift its focus away from 55-year-old dudes to who is, generally speaking, the guys that are still hunting, all that kind of stuff. You know, I really wish they would also include the 30-year-old guy. The guy that is the next generation of what the organization is.
Well, and I think I agree with you.
It's really frustrating from my standpoint. You know?
I agree with you. In some ways it is trying to find a balance because if you gear it all towards one category or the other, once again it's the same thing. You have a large swath of people you need to encapsulate, and I guess the question is what's the best method in order to do that?
I think they tried to do that with the commentators, that effort.
Well,
they tried
depends which commentators you're talking about, because some of them are a little divisive.
Who? I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
That's okay, then we won't go there.
I seriously don't remember.
Okay. That's fine.
I
would agree with like Colleen Noir to the younger crowd absolutely appeals to them as far as videos and stuff. But how many of those people has he converted into dues paying members is really the question.
Well,
and if that's the goal or not.
I don't think it is the goal because it would be stupid to have that be the goal for what he's doing.
What would you believe or think that for what he's doing the goal should be?
Well, what
'Cause
I think
I
the
don't
goal
know.
should
I'm just
be and what it
curious.
is, or it may not be the same
Well,
thing.
yeah, and I'm just curious.
It's more of a
I think it's more of an outreach position.
yeah, more of an outreach and door opening type position.
Okay.
Because if somebody in his position is saying, "Hey, the NRA is not all bad,"
Right, which it isn't.
right? Well, somebody doing that to people of way more diverse backgrounds than 50-year-old white dude could do. That's
Okay.
absolutely
I'm with
going to change things potentially. But the second he starts going, sign up for the NRA, he's lost all credibility. And people, I mean, this more than most. People are sick of being asked for money. Sick of it. They're sick of it. Sick of it. Sick of it. I'm one of them, and I'm a life member, and they ask me for money.
Yeah, I'm a benefactor member. I get asked for money too.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. It's absurd.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Seth wants to know, do you think Rock River Armory, Springfield Armory, and Daniel Defense have done enough to reaffirm their stake in the Second Amendment community since supporting anti-Second Amendment laws?
So not everybody in that list supported anti-Second Amendment laws. I don't think that's the case. Rock River has done nothing. In large part, I don't think I've ever seen anything apologetic from Rock River. Springfield, they screwed the pooch. Are you familiar with what happened with them?
I vaguely remember.
So apparently there was a lobbyist that kind of carved out something in an Illinois law for Rock River and Springfield.
Right.
And I feel like Springfield gets way more of the hate than Rock River does. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they're a bigger target. I don't know.
The XD, that's why.
I spoke to one, they don't make that gun; they import it, and two,
they import the XD. That's why.
Oh my goodness. The point is, I don't think they've.
It's the XD.
I hate
okay,
you
I'm done.
So hard, so hard. I don't think they've done enough, because what they've basically done is said, "We're sorry," maybe once or twice, and not faced it head on. I think they could be way more proactive about being part of the community. Like right now, I keep getting emails every day from them. Hey, we're giving away an XDS 9 Mod 2 or something like that, right? So
does it have the grip zone?
Yes, it does. It's hilarious. But instead of trying to be more of a part of the creator community, like reaching out and trying to bridge.
Let me. What does the creator community have to do with repenting for their alleged sins here?
A lot of people found out about what they did through the creator community by people that were vocal about it. And I think in large part, when you can reach, several million people through that community that were the most vocal about what's happening, that would be a good place to start. My point is not necessarily support content creators. It's to start
Spread
more
your message
community
through them.
outreach.
So here's a question for you. At what point has a company that has maybe done something foolish or hired somebody who did something stupid on their behalf, at what point have they made up for that alleged transgression? I mean, you make a statement, you say something stupid, you stick your foot in your mouth. How long does this go on for? Because there's people out there that'll never be satisfied.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that. You can't satisfy everybody. I don't quite remember exactly what happened with Daniel Defense. Do you?
Yeah, Marty came out and said he supported Fix Nix.
Fix Nix, which we covered, and I don't remember what was in it.
There were due process issues with it. But
it was a lot of stuff that wasn't. It was beyond surface level stuff, right?
Yeah, it wasn't like on its face. You had to dig a little bit, but GOA released a huge thing about how it was a horrible thing, and
well, I think Daniel Defense got caught up really quickly in it. They put out, Marty Daniel put out a letter saying, "Hey, we support this, yada yada," and then immediately saw the backlash and then apologized for not understanding better.
Well, and I
think that was a good effort.
But then people took that as insincere, and and this is what I'm saying is, say you come out and say something that's dumb, or you say you even believe it. I'll even give you the benefit of the doubt that, let's say Marty actually truly felt that way. how much of this vocalness for the backlash is just walking it back so it doesn't hurt business versus like, look, this is my position. If you don't like it, sorry. And how many of those people were buying Daniel defense rifles anyway?
I don't know that answer. I mean, I put up a poll on the TGC Facebook page, kind of an impromptu thing
Right.
of, what companies, if you want to pull it up real quick, I think that'd be an interesting read or view.
It was on TGC's Facebook page?
Yeah, on the Gun Collective Facebook page. And it was name a gun company that you used to respect but don't anymore. If you scroll down, it's on the main page there.
I clicked the wrong
But
thing.
I think there's a definite prevailing theory of Remington and Springfield is on there quite a bit. Oh my goodness, the pop-ups on Facebook are freaking absurd.
Yeah, I don't want that.
It's above that.
It's above that.
There you go.
Oh, it's not a poll though.
Right, it's not an actual
All right.
poll. It was just like, hey, let's
Glock,
talk about
they're
this.
like the iPhone, Spike's Tactical,
Remington, Sig,
Remington's Colt instead of Springfield, Ruger, no, I guess not Ruger, Remington, Kimber, Remington, Colt, Winchester,
I think Remington is getting
Remington,
hammered.
Sig.
So you
yeah,
have to
there's a
think
lot of Remington.
about this in terms of what's really happening. Like I personally, I thought that the apology from Daniel Defense was okay.
Okay.
I was okay with that. I thought the Springfield approach to just kind of let it go and see if you can just ride it out. I think that was not the best, but it's up to them to handle.
Well, I don't know. I've got mixed feelings about it. Just because I think if you're gonna say something, it's one thing if you hire somebody and they do something incredibly stupid, and you as a company are like, whoa, we never, had we known, we never would have let that happen. It's another thing to make a statement that you probably believe and then backwalk it. I think you should be like unapologetically sincere as to your positions. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. Like, okay, man, I don't necessarily agree with you, but you're entitled to your opinion.
Yeah.
Alternatively, if you don't want to face the backlash towards your business, just keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Not a hard concept.
Yeah, it's all of these things surround political nonsense. And it's tough because, I've come out and said, I want more big companies to get involved.
Sure, but they're looking at it from a standpoint of business.
And this is the kind of stuff that happens when they get involved and go askew.
Well, again, it depends as to your alignment on it. I guarantee you ask some gun owners,
Yeah.
about fixed nicks, for instance, and they'll say, yeah, that's reasonable, why not? Absolutely, I can guarantee you that that's the case.
Sure.
So just because I don't necessarily like it, you don't like it, that guy on the internet doesn't like it, I guess it really becomes a question as to should I say anything is really the first question these companies should ask themselves. Like, does it require me to say something and take a position, or could I just keep my mouth shut,
Right?
And not face the political backlash from it? Interestingly, we alluded to this earlier, and we never talked about it. And I see it here on the side, so we'll quickly talk about it before we go. The article that was on Reuters this past week: the fundamentalists, hardliners within the NRA. Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently.
No, we never did talk about that. We're getting low on time.
Yeah.
Do you want to sneak it in?
Yeah, just real. I mean, we could just. You can read it. It's on Reuters. You search like fundamentalists and Adam Crowd. I guarantee you it'll pop up. But essentially, I'm the leader of a movement that I didn't know existed within the NRA to take a hardline position on.
So you want the NRA to do what they should do anyway?
Well, I mean, I think it's interesting that they characterized. What was fascinating to me is that the media characterizes the NRA as this hardline right organization, and now they're saying there's a faction within it that is even further in that direction. And I'm like, okay. Anyway, so that article appeared on Reuters, and it went all over the place, and that was part of the precipitating event for rotting again here. So, yeah. If I'm a hardliner, that makes Tim at Mac, I don't know. I don't. The question in the comments.
I see it.
Yeah, well, nobody listening is going to see it. So, Anyway, I guess that brings us to the end of our podcast here.
Yeah.
For this week.
We were sponsored.
Yes, thank you. We were sponsored this week by Blue Alpha Gear. You can make sure to get your super secret discount by plugging in the code TGC10 at checkout. Go buy yourself or your fancy family member a new belt, because I'm sure somebody needs one. Also, our TGC Patreon supporters over at patreon.com/theguncollective. You can pledge the $1 Army or the $5 Forces. If you enter in at the $5 level, you are entered this month to win a Chiappa Rhino. You can check out The Gun Collective anywhere. You can find social media at The Gun Collective, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Where else are we? Twitter.
On the internet.
On the internet, yeah. Just Google it.
Just like Barbra Streisand's house.
Just like Barbra Streisand's house.
It's on the
internet.
It's
on the internet. You can check out my stuff on Instagram at the Adam Kraut, running for the NRA Board of Directors for a third time because I must be crazy. AdamKraut.com to download the petitions. Yes, you got to print it out. Yes, you got to sign it. Yes, you got to toss it in the mail. Annual member for the past 5 consecutive years or a life member. Find your friends. 651 signatures required to get back onto the ballot. This is to be placed on the ballot.
And if you made it this far, I love you big much.
Big much. That's it for this week. We'll see you next time. Au revoir.
Bye.